So the Grammys happened last night, and of course, some way, somehow, Kanye West finds a way to make the Grammys about him. Now, there was a little bit of a controversy after Beck won the Best Album of the Year, beating Beyonce, and I have to say, I didn't know that Beck had a new album. I consider myself someone who's very much into music, so I was kind of surprised by that win. But nonetheless, I wasn't the only one that was surprised. Lots of people were kind of shocked at the fact that Beck won over Beyonce, but Kanye West was a little more vocal about it.
Yeah, I think the controversy largely surrounded the idea that Beck had not retired.
I was like, wow, Beck's still around. By the way, I like Beck. I've liked Beck's music. So I don't want to make a judgment about him winning over Beyonce until I actually hear his music. I haven't heard his new album. Nonetheless, Kanye had very strong opinions about this. When Beck went up to receive his reward, or award, I should say, at that point, Kanye West went up after him and made it seem like he was going to do what he did to Taylor Swift when she won a Grammy years ago, right?
He was going to occupy the mic.
He was going to occupy the mic. But in this case, he didn't do that. He just went up on the stage. Beck kind of seemed a little weirded out by it, but then Kanye laughed, turned around, and went back to his seat. Okay, that was it. Afterwards, Vanity Fair actually talked to Kanye West about it, and they're like, oh, you're making fun of yourself, right? And he's like, no, I was kind of upset that Beck won. In fact, let me tell you what he told Vanity Fair. At this point, we tired of it. What happens is when you keep on diminishing art and not respecting the craft and smacking people in the face after they deliver monumental feats of music, you're disrespectful to inspiration.
It's hard not to dislike this guy.
I know.
You have to dislike him.
So I've totally flipped on this. I mean, look, I too was surprised at Beck winning over Beyonce. But at the same time, Kanye is just, the way he delivers things, the way he executes things is so terrible. It's impossible not to dislike him.
So there was a lively debate that we had on the show as to whether Kanye West was tongue-in-cheek and a genius of marketing and a little Muhammad Ali-esque, I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and all that fun stuff, right? Or if he was just an idiot. Okay, I think that debate has kind of been resolved, and he's largely an idiot. So, and really grating on the nerves. Now, look, I know about as much about music as Anna knows about sports. So it's not my strong suit, okay? So I don't care about the Grammys, I don't pay attention to it, but this kind of drama I enjoy. So, as usual, give credit to Kanye for making the Grammys a little interesting, right?
Yeah,
whereas they would have been completely insipid without his ridiculous antics. Now, having said that, and I don't know that Beck's still around, but I don't know anything about music, right? And I'll go further. It's that Kanye might not be entirely wrong in the sense that my guess is that a lot of voters for the Grammys are people who enjoy Beck's music. Am I using the proper code words?
You're the worst.
Okay.
That could be true.
All right.
That could be true.
And so they and then Beck winds up winning, even though Beyonce is only 1,000 times larger. Or maybe they just like this album better. But it's not up to Kanye to decide whether Beck is or is not artistic. Okay, that's like your opinion, man.
Absolutely. And another thing that I'd like to add to this is that when it comes to this specific category, album of the year, I mean, how do you determine what the album of the year is when you're working with so many different genres, right? So Beyonce is in a different genre from Beck. So how do you compare those albums? It's stupid. It's stupid. So I don't even know. I mean, I like all sorts of music. So if someone told me, hey, you have to choose between, I don't know, Silver Sun Pickups and Kendrick Lamar, how do I choose between those two? They're two completely different categories, and I love both of them.
It's kind of like saying Goodfellas was a better drama than Anchorman was a comedy. Maybe, I don't know, it's really hard to compare those things. But nonetheless, they do hand out an Oscar for Best Picture, right? And so they're doing Album of the Year. If anyone can explain to me the difference between Album of the Year and Record of the Year, that would be another accomplishment. Like Kanye apparently has 21 Grammys. Is there anyone in the music industry that has less than 21 Grammys?
I know.
They hand those out dime a dozen. Oh, you get this, you get that, you get the song of the year, you get the lyric of the year.
But what's amazing,
you get the word of the year.
What's amazing is he can get that many Grammys and still complain. And look, in some cases, maybe
right?
it's...
What do you want? 22 Grammys?
Okay, so I have more from him. So he also says, we as musicians have to inspire people who go to work every day and they listen to that Beyonce album and they feel like it takes them to another place. Look, I'm gonna get so much hate for this. I thought Beyonce's album sucked.
Oh my God, how could you?
I didn't like
You are against all art.
I think Beyonce's overrated. She's talented. I just didn't think her album was that great, except for that surfboard song. That was kind of good.
Okay. I couldn't begin to tell you what song was on which album of Beyonce. Oh, okay. She's huge. God bless. Doesn't mean that Beck was crap. Maybe he inspires people. I mean, he doesn't inspire you, Kanye.
Yeah, exactly.
So what?
All right, and finally he says, Beck knows that Beyonce should have won. Come on, man. I love Beck, but he ain't have album of the year.
He's insane, dude. You think Beck wins, and I'm sure he's excited to win, yada, yada. It's going to mean more money. So he comes up and he's like, no, Kanye's right. I'm going to give this to Beyonce.
Get out of here.
Can you imagine? Like, we won a Webby. Like best host of the year. Oh, right. That is what we won. Not a big deal. And I'm like, no, in good conscience, I can't take this. I've got to give it to Ray William Johnson. He was better than us this year. He just was. Ray's great, by the way, but I wouldn't give up my Webby. Okay, yes, yeah.
Well, I think the problem comes in he doesn't follow protocol is the problem that people have with him. This time when he went up there and faked like he was going to go on stage and went down, it was all in good fun. That's why they were saying, oh, were you being, self-deprecating to yourself and everything? So yeah, fine. But then when he goes and says he thinks his opinion is fact, is what's wrong with his brain.
That's exactly
So everyone
right.
has an opinion. I also said, Beck, really?
Yeah.
And I wasn't even thinking Beyonce should have won. I was just thinking, really, Beck? That's all. And then when he did it, I was like, oh, as he approached, everyone was freaking out like, oh, shit. Because there's so much establishment protocol. You know how some award shows have lighthearted feeling and others are just too stuffy. This one is near the top. Like, the Academy Awards are the worst. But this one's near the top where they're like, we're musicians and singers. We have to do this shit right. And then so they have this worry that he stepped out of bounds and now we're embarrassed. Oh my goodness, who cares? Who cares? So the problem then, I think, you have to respect him for at least not being fake. The man is real. So if whoever asked him the question afterwards, so what'd you really think? And he tells you what he really thought, don't get mad that he told you what he really thought.
Yeah.
Because it's just like with athletics. We hate when the guys say, oh yeah, the team is very respectable. We like them. They're an awesome team. They could beat our ass any day. I don't know. They don't go in the locker room and say that, and we know that. So not that I don't respect those guys that do it, but I'm always annoyed by them. I'm like, please stop saying how great the other team is. You don't really think like that.
Yeah, I appreciate the honesty, but sometimes the honesty reveals how deplorable a person is.
Right, so what's deplorable? That he has a different opinion or that he's willing to say it? I don't think it's deplorable that he's willing to say it. It's deplorable when he goes and takes away someone's moment. That is what I don't agree with.
Yes, that I don't agree with, and I also don't agree. Look, I've liked some of his music in the past, right? I also don't agree with like his ego, like the fact that he thinks he's better than everyone else and that everyone should follow what his beliefs are. Like, I think Beyonce should win Album of the Year, so there. That's what it should be. It's like a kid, right? A kid not having his way and then freaking out about it.
Didn't he name an album like where he's Jesus?
It's called Yeezus.
Jesus. I think he's fairly large in the ego category. I think we've kind of settled that issue.
Yeah.
So I hear what JR is saying. It's a totally legitimate point. He is keeping it real. It's just that when you find out what kind of reality he lives in, you begin to question, yeah, he's real, but he's a real idiot.